Welcome to Customer Conversations, where I sit down with some of my customers and run through their journey with the Microsoft Dynamics and Power Platform. In this edition, it's Toni from MHS Homes.
I'm Toni from MHS Homes. I'm the solution architect here, recently appointed into that role, previously the apps manager. So I still do look after all of the applications here, but mainly my role is to look at business problems and then try to come up with a technical solution to help support some of those business problems. So that's what I do here.
And what sort of challenges were you facing to make you think, oh, actually, we're going to have a look at, I'll say the Power Platform, because you're using it quite generically across the piece at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, so I suppose when we initially set out the piece of work and we came to you, we were quite set on going down the Dynamics route, and we thought Dynamics was potentially going to be the answer to everything that we needed. We didn't necessarily have the budget to put up for the licenses for Dynamics and that type of approach. So we did a discovery piece for 6 months that you helped me with a lot. In that discovery piece, I spoke to a lot of different housing associations and organisations that were using Dynamics. And obviously you taught me as well, Chris, how to use Dynamics, how to create a workflow and a business process within Dynamics. And that to me opened my eyes about how I could get my team to learn and what we would need to do here to support it ongoing at MHS. And I think for me, in that 6 months, I learned that I didn't just want to go down a Dynamics route and have Dynamics be the answer to everything. I wanted to see the Power Platform or 365 really in its entirety and look at everything that's available to help solve some of the business issues that we've got. So we did a bit of a flip, and I think you were part of them conversations. You helped me write the business case to get the exec team and the board to back us on that approach as well. And you were heavily involved in that business case and meeting our exec team and our board. So that was really good support, because it was difficult to get that internally, having that dedicated time with people internally. So you helped me shape that, which was really good. And as I say, we've gone down the route of using the whole of the Power Platform. So we got our internal intranet onto SharePoint now. We're looking at SharePoint, using it as at the moment for policies and procedures. So we've built policies and procedures all in SharePoint solution with an app that can do mandatory reads. So that's good. Again, reducing, I suppose some of our aims was reducing our portfolio of applications. Some of our problems were around not being able to see that 360 view of what was going on in a tenancy or in a customer's home, and what we've tried to do in incremental stages is fix or create solutions to help us along the way to achieve that goal, rather than go big bang. And I think that's what you helped make me realise, is I didn't want to go down the big bang route or put that forward as a recommendation.
Yeah, definitely. And I think from your perspective, you was very much, you knew you had an overarching plan. You had like almost a roadmap that you were saying, okay, we need to do this first. So, and then you sliced quite right. So we got together, it was like just over 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Mental. And then we went through the proof of concept and all that sort of lovely stuff, and then but already then you could see you kind of had your vision and how then things would be sliced and diced to get the most out of the products. And it's great that you're looking at holistically across the whole of the Power Platform and saying, okay, this is my toolbox, what can I do with it?
Exactly that. And I do use it as a toolbox as well. So we try not to talk to our business areas around actual solutions or naming it. We talk about the process and what they can get out of it and what they need at the end of it, because they can get really hung up on, I mean, you probably get this from customers, where they can get hung up on trying to solutionize themselves, and I'm like, just tell me what you need. And that's been a bit of a journey for us to try and, I don't want to say stop them, but try to reduce them trying to solutionize, because they'll just think about what we've got already. So that was a bit of a learning curve for us, and we're still going through that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think all organisations have the same thing. It's kind of trying to flip it to say we've we're the IT team. We'll work out how to fix the issue, but you tell us what the issue is, and
Yeah.
then tell us how you work, and then we'll work together on finding the best way forward, rather
Yeah.
than kind of someone saying, "Can we just add a field here or something here?" and then jobs are good, because it's never works out like that. So
No, and we can be guilty of that as well. So we're asked to do some quick fixes
yeah,
sometimes. So we put a solution together quickly and do a quick fix, and then the next month we get an extra requirement, and then the next month, and then it starts to look a little bit broken, or it is broken, and then
mm,
we have to call it and say, actually, no, we need to build a proper solution here. So that does still happen,
yeah,
but because the business will need something there
hmm
and then they'll add to it. So we do have to be strong in that approach and say,
yeah,
actually, we now need to stop this sticky plasters. We need to look at it from scratch and build you
yeah.
out a proper solution, with everything in mind, rather than that initial kind of
Mm.
fix, I suppose, to a process.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's kind of the beauty of it, isn't it? It's so flexible. You can put those little plasters on, but again, you've got that actually at a high level. We need to now review this. We've got your
Mm,
plaster, we've got your reports, we've got what you need, but let's go back and revisit. I think just the
yeah.
way you set up the team internally is really good. And they all just work together, and they've all got the different skill sets they bring to the table in different times. And
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
it's great working with you guys. So
Well, it's good working with you. I think you're an extension to our team. That's how I would like to put it. Yes, you're a consultant, and we buy you in as a consultant. But in terms of, I can draw on your expertise in again, kind of looking at the Power Platform. It's a bit like you offer lots of different services, and I can pull on those services when I need them,
mm,
if that's whether training our team or and again, when I say training, it's been that learning with, isn't it? We've always
mm,
built with you, which has
yeah,
been great for us, because we go away with the knowledge after building that. You have built for us as well, so I can give you a spec. You can scope processes out with our business users and then come up with a solution for them. So again, it's an extension to my team, and that has been fantastic, because I, traditionally, I suppose, one of the reasons why we looked at going elsewhere for some of our business problems was we were wedded to our traditional housing management system and our asset management system, and then having a lot of cost if we wanted to put business processes in there that didn't fit the normal mold.
yeah,
And that's where I suppose we're coming up with solutions that fit around what's missing from our traditional systems. And
yeah.
yeah, you've helped us massively on that.
And I suppose from that perspective, you get to kind of make the use of a big networks. You've got other suppliers that help with the Microsoft 365 and some
Yeah.
other parts of Power Platform. Myself, I chip in and help you out as well. So, but that it kind of just opens a door, doesn't it? Whereas obviously, as you say, from a housing management perspective, the system is kind of it's a bit more rigid and takes a bit more time to
Yeah.
change. Whereas you can spin up a Power App or something after you've done all process mapping, all that lovely
Yeah.
stuff. You can spin up relatively quickly and start delivering those proof of concepts and then going live with the team. And they see that as well. And they probably, well, they definitely react well to it.
Yeah, and like you said about my team setting up and they've got their own disciplines, I suppose. That's the
Mm,
same with my suppliers or our partners,
mm,
is that we've got certain disciplines, and I know what supplier I can go to and draw on, for whatever I need, really. And that's the same as how I've set the team up.
yeah.
Yes, we have cross training, but one person can't know everything. I've got a
No,
stack
no.
of like 19 traditional applications to manage, as well as now the
Mm,
you know the Power Platform and everything that comes with that. So that not one person can know everything. I've only
no.
got 4 people in my team. So yeah, it's been great working like that, and you being up for working like that as well. So sometimes you might engage with a supplier and they're like, well, if you're working with me, you can't work with anyone else.
Yeah, yeah.
And you haven't been like that at all, which has been great. And again, it's given me that flexibility.
Mm, cool.
Definitely.
Brilliant. Excellent. So what do you think moving forward then? But yeah, high hopes for the rest of the Power Platform.
Wow.
Any sort of ideas moving forward? A big question, or just what are you focusing on at the moment?
Yeah. So we I think we've got the foundations right in terms of setting up our environments correctly. We've separated the data in between a customer environment and a non-customer environment, and actually that's working well for us. And having that dev, test, and production as well, that's working really well for us. So I think we've nailed our foundations. I think we've learned a lot around Dataverse and how we are replicating the data structure within our housing management system within Dataverse. I think we could do some tweaks there, and I think that needs to probably happen in the next 6 to 12 months. So then we can upscale some of our solutions that we've got already. As you know, for supported housing, we've got case management now in Dynamics, and we're using that really well. And then we are also developing power apps for the guys to use for processes that we won't build in Dynamics.
It's brilliant.
And it's working really well.
Yeah.
And it all feeds back into the housing management system when they want it to. So yes, they go to the housing management system still for rent and processes like arrangements and things like that. But anything to do with their cases, it all goes in Dynamics, and they like that separation as well.
Yeah.
For us, we're still on that mission of trying to reduce the amount of legacy applications we've got here. So we're still going to do that over the next probably 3 to 5 years. It's not going to be a quick thing, I don't think. We are, what I would say, app in a day. That was put to me by a couple of management team members saying in terms of, it says Microsoft say you can do an app in a day, and I think I've learned very quickly some of these apps or solutions you want to do, you can't do in a day. They're really complex, some of the ones that we're putting out, and we're starting to show them, not in a technical way, but how complex some of these solutions are. But what I would say is our data structure has come along, that we did successfully do an app in half a day. The other it was 2 weeks ago, and that was a business problem around asbestos data. We couldn't get that down to our DLO, and we spun up an app, and they've got full access to asbestos data now, but from our asset management system, where normally from their working solution, mobile working solution, they only get it from our housing management solution. So it's third hand, I suppose, where now they're getting it from our asset management solution, and they can see it full. And we did that in half a day. So I was
that's pretty cool.
Kudos to my team, because but again, that's because we've got the data structures right, and we can spin things up like that now. We're working more on what I would say is solving some internal problems. So I think you'll know some of our apps around internal processes like starters, levers and changers. Setting up a new supplier for the finance team. We haven't got a procurement to pay system, so we've got a purchase to pay, but we need that supplier element, that first part. So we've done all of that already and delivered that. It's now taking it to the next stage around how can I get those solutions working with the P2P system, so I can get some data validation around current contracts, current suppliers in our P2P system. So it's moving them all along, as well as creating some new ones to business problems. Some of the business problems at the minute, we've got damp and mold. I'm trying to work out whether I should have that in our asset management system, our housing management system, or if I should build a new solution for it totally. And some of it around complaints. We did our proof of concept in complaints, didn't we, for Dynamics? We're building lessons learned in a power app, and we might build the rest of complaints in Dynamics, but we need to do something.
Definitely.
One thing I'm keen on is, now we've gone live with a web version of our housing management system, is how I can display power apps within our housing management system, so our users get one journey, and they can't really tell what system they're in, and actually they don't care what system they're in, they just want to do a process. So that's one of our key things, is I want them to be able to access the solutions that we're providing when they need it in as part of a process, rather than go into another icon or go into a link somewhere, that type
Yeah,
of stuff.
that's brilliant. A lot on then. So you're not taking the foot off the pedal.
No.
It's all good stuff though, and I think it's just nice having all those opportunities ahead of you, and just saying, okay, if that doesn't fit, let's try this, and it is that, and I think the team are quite sort of free to kind of go and try things and say, okay, let's try this in an app. If not, let's move it over here. So it's really that fail fast mentality is really good. Let's get a little thing out there, show the business, does it work? No, bring it back in and go again until they're all happy. But the engagement with the business is something you guys do really well, and it's kind of 90% of it, isn't it?
Well, and my approach, I would say, is that I want to build with the teams as well. So we might mock up how screens will look, and we might do that in PowerPoint or, you know, something else. And then we will go to the next stage of mocking it up in a Power App. What does it look like? How does it feel for our users? But one thing I would say is our management team here is really supportive of that learning environment. So yes, we might not get it right 100% of the time, but we learn from what we don't get right, and then we put it right, if that makes sense. But
exactly,
you have to sometimes try it, because you'll know as well, when you're scoping a solution, you don't necessarily get everything out of the users, because they're used to doing it all the time, and you can shadow, and you can you know, and that's what we've been doing, is shadowing to try and get a real insight to what the users are doing and what they're facing, the challenges they're facing. But ET do support us on that journey, and I think we're quite lucky. Some organizations might not have that kind of approach, and I do believe they're supportive of us to do that. So it's good.
Definitely.
It's exciting. It is exciting.
And I think I'm hoping we're starting to see a shift in the sector of people working to your model, where they're kind of more engaged with the business and working with them to develop solutions to problems, not just getting an instruction, as kind of an old school way of working. So it's definitely exciting times for NHS. Cool. Okay. I think, well, I've taken up far too much of your time already. I know you're incredibly busy, but I'd like to thank you very much, Toni.
Thank you.
Cheers.